So,
Yes.
I think there is something we should be talking about in this podcast.
Yeah.
Something that's indubitably topical. Something
Yes.
that I believe will have a lot of people talking about it in the next week or so.
Yeah, a lot of fresh wounds, I think.
Yes, a lot of wounds of the flesh that happen to be fresh. Yes,
Yeah.
I just saved you.
Yes, thank you.
So I guess we need to remove the band-aid fast, in order to get to the point so that the pain will cease faster. I believe that is the logic.
Yes, that is the logic. So let's get
okay. Yes, let's get talking about it. This Batman Elmer Fudd comic better feature a Frank Miller-style narration of Elmer Fudd hunting down the Bat. It should be something along these lines. Darkness. In the darkness, I hunt. I hunt the Bat in the darkness.
I was more thinking of the Bat. I must hunt the Bat. For the Bat, I must hunt.
So a lot of redundancy, essentially.
Yes.
Also,
boy. Random woman's butt into the shot for no reason.
The darkness is my mistress.
That's her name on a Tuesday.
Welcome back to the Team Yume podcast, the show in which we talk about things in a show about talking about things.
Yes, because things happen, and thus we talk about them at length.
It's about as sound a logic as the Band-Aid analogy earlier.
It's actual logic of some description.
So, both me and Devar have watched Kong Skull Island recently. In fact, I watched it on Sunday, and I believe, Devar, you watched it this very afternoon, the day of this recording.
Me and my fiance went out to watch it just today because we really wanted to see that movie together. So, might as well make it this one since we kind of have a deal that we must go to the cinema once a year, so it has to be this one, apparently.
So you could have watched the Lego Batman.
Yes. Sing, or anything else.
But you went and watched Kong Skull Island. I hope it was worth it.
We'll get to that at some point during our little discussion, I think.
You can get to it right now. You start off.
Right then, okay. Long story short, it's very good. Very well done. I'm struggling for words right now.
This film is a high-budgeted schlock that knows it's a schlock. and it doesn't try or pretend to be anything else, unlike the 2014 Godzilla movie, which was everything a film about giant monsters should not be. Specifically, a boring, trite disaster constantly bogged down by whatever phony and pretentious authorial vision the director had for said film. So we have 2 hours of build-up only to have minimal payoff. And we spend the majority of that running time with characters and additional monsters we have no reason to care for.
Yeah.
And that, in a nutshell, is my personal critique. Now, Kong Skull Island takes the example of Godzilla and reverse it completely, because it doesn't try to be a authorial, postmodern deconstruction of the genre of the kaiju film.
No, it definitely doesn't.
Now, this film is a straightforward B-movie, but with an high budget. So, as opposed to having people in giant rubber suits like in a Japanese film from the 60s or the 70s and cheap special effects, we have expensive CGI, expensive actors, expensive sets,
expensive choreography and everything.
Also a very savvy direction to complement what is essentially at its core a massive schlock that is meant to be enjoyed as such. And that's exactly what we got with Kong Skull Island. Finally! About time, I'd say.
I know. I mean, I would like to say that I have no clue about the original movie, that this is obviously, well, a reboot of.
Well, actually, this is neither a proper sequel nor a remake of a classic Kong movie. This is technically an original script. I mean, as far as original a script of this caliber can ever get, but this is not an official remake of a pre-existing King Kong movie. It's like its own King Kong film that was placed into the now established continuity of the Godzilla film from 2 years prior, because yes, Warner Bros., failing to make a proper DC cinematic universe, is trying to make a monster movie cinematic universe. I approve.
Yes, I approve of this as well. It's a very good concept, but like I was about to say, I can tell, already it's more like is it a right word to say reiteration? Or is it like a different adaptation of what you would expect from the original King Kong?
Well, it's a bit more complicated, because this is the first American-produced King Kong that is not from the original studio that used to own the IP.
Oh,
In fact, you can notice that immediately, because they did not even try to remake the actual King Kong story.
Well, no, because remember the last time when they tried that with Jack
it was
Black?
a successful experiment, if you ask me. It was a good film. I liked the 2005 King Kong by Peter Jackson more than I liked the Ring trilogy.
Well, yeah, true.
That's my personal opinion, by the way. But it's nice to see Kong implemented in something that's not the typical Beauty and the Beast story.
Well, no, it's like I said, it's executed differently compared to...
I mean, there isn't even a real romance in between the giant ape and the woman, just a couple of encounters.
It's just more like very touching encounters.
And this is what I really appreciate about this film, how straightforward it is in what it wants to show to us audience and what it wants us to be invested in. Specifically, giant monsters fighting other giant monsters, and occasionally giant monsters eating humans. And, since we have time, also Tom Hiddleston slicing up butts with a katana, which, it's nice.
Yeah, it's very nice, actually. I'm so cool, that scene. I mean, just because I love it when a swordsman of any description goes out, slicing monsters in half.
Watcha! Dun dun dun, dun dun dun, Tom Hiddleston.
Watcha! We're going a bit too in-depth into something we've not even properly set up yet, either.
Well, but that's the point. You don't have to talk about a plot, which is mostly an excuse to get people into an area so that they can fight monsters. Really, the whole plot of the film is there is a giant ape, and the giant ape fights monsters in his island. There are also humans, but who cares? I mean, I am simplifying things, but that's actually a strength of the film itself. It keeps it simple. It has some occasional quips about the folly of war, specifically with the really righteous use of the character played by John C. Reilly. He has the best performance in the film, and is pretty much the only character you can grow attached to. He has more dimensions than the other ones, which are mostly there to be serviceable to the very thin plot.
Yeah.
And it was really nice to see his comeuppance right at the end, I have to say.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, when I first saw him, I was quite worried he was going to be the comic relief crazy guy, but he had more dimension to him and seemed a bit more believable. You know, really loved those action-packed moments when slicing things with a katana, and not to mention that final scene where he got home. I teared up then, actually, at that moment.
Okay, so
seeing him return.
Now, to be fair, the very first scene of the film shows us the young version of the character played by Riley. When he actually lands on the island, he fights off with his Japanese enemy, and then they meet, right off the bat, they meet Kong.
It was very quick. It was a quick meeting, just to show you, hey, we're in this movie. This giant ape's in the movie.
Okay, that sets up the mood of the rest of the film quite nicely. Now you know what to expect. You also know what to expect ideally from the character himself, which you know he will be appearing later on.
I really liked the setup to all of it because it was all simply put. You got to see what the characters were, what they were all about, and that's enough information for you to know what their standing is in the film. Especially, I do like some of the scenes as well that kind of have a bit of comical moments to them as well. Lines of dialogue that seems to
complement a given situation.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Build up suspense only to then explode into a satisfying payoff.
Yeah, those are very good ways to put it.
Yes, I really like the way they introduced the ape to the audience, because they pretty much teased his appearance since the first scene, and then there is the whole scene in present time, which is the 70s in the timeline of the film, in which we get ready to actually get to the island.
Yeah, which by the way at the time was taking place at the back end of the Vietnam War,
yes,
which is taking place.
Thematically relevant to specifically to the character of Samuel L. Jackson, whom, in perfect Samuel L. Jackson style, ends up becoming the biggest monster of the film, because it is Samuel L. Jackson. I love the fact that the King Kong becomes his own personal Moby Dick as a symbolic representation of his personal failings as a man, the stolen victory that he did not get from Nam, and he sees killing him as a sort of personal redemption to his own toxic masculinity. It's clever. But his acting is also great. And I have to say, the scene in which they actually properly introduce King Kong in his entirety, which is more or less the second the helicopters arrive to the island, not wasting any time.
Which is very good.
Was a majestic scene. It was one of the best directed scenes of the past year.
Oh yeah, I would agree on that one, because it shows the great scope of Skull Island, and once you know the scope of the island, and then they introduce Kong and all the other monsters that live on that island, you get a sense of how big those monsters are compared to the vastness of the island itself. It is very well done, that sort of cinematic cartography.
Cinematic cartography. I love that term, Devar. I really love it.
I hope it actually is a term.
It probably is not. It should be. It's a good one. It's a good name. You should trademark it. So, how this whole scene plays out is that the helicopters arrive to the island, passing the storm, and we get immediately a pretty nice homage and reference to that one scene from Apocalypse Now, which is a film that gets referenced quite often in this one, which is not a coincidence. Again, the particular timeline chosen to narrate this story. Again, at the back end of the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
Bottom line, that scene is very well directed, and then all of a sudden, one of the helicopters gets a tree right in its face.
Just like a tree, they leave.
And then Kong appears, and we have a slow, methodic, but also fast-paced at the same time build up to the reveal of the Kong himself. the camera panning to the helicopters flying towards the giant silhouette of Kong right as the sun was setting behind him. And thus we have the poster image for the film.
I will say it's a very well-paced moment. It's like,
Yes.
you shows a bit of Kong, shows a bit of everyone reacting in astonishment and amazement at the same time.
Yes, they are selling the living bowels out of Kong. It's like Brock Lesnar coming to suplex everybody.
He comes to suplex all the mountains just to destroy you.
But yes, the cinematography in this film is fantastic. The use of color and shots and lighting. Again, that one poster image of the silhouette of Kong as the sun is setting is the poster image for a reason, because that is the best filmed, presented scene in the entire film, and it is absolutely breathtaking. And that is what I really admire about this film. It is a B-movie in the skin of a AAA movie, with a competent director behind the camera. A director that I found out not only has the most epic beard imaginable, but he also comes from TV direction and independent cinema. He's a Sundance Film Festival kid, essentially. Not only he did a great job using his own sensibilities as a director to film it, but he also managed to do what the director of Godzilla could not do, and that is not bogging down the entire film to force in his artistic interpretation of the genre. Like I said, a schlock for the sake of a schlock. And it's enjoyable because it knows what it is and what it wants to be, and doesn't try to be 2013 Godzilla, that. I was going to say.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say, it doesn't try to be anything more than that.
Yes, I could not have wanted anything more or anything less from my big-time monster fighting film.
I will say this, though. Seeing how all the characters were written in this film, it feels like as if horror movies should be taking notes from it, with how, you got to know enough about characters that you could be invested in some more than others, but still you could be invested enough in the small number that lives.
I hear that horror movies have been having a renaissance in the last year. A lot of products that actually prey on current topical fears in humanity. For example, there is this very successful Get Out film, which I'm yet to see and I cannot wait to see, which is basically putting in the forefront the idea and pretty much the fact that the scariest entity in the world is white people.
Okay.
And the main character is a black person dealing with said white people.
Oh gosh.
So yes, that's something that I really want to see and experience.
Right. It's just like I said, like I was about to say before, is that I felt like I could understand most of the characters' motivations, personalities. They were all mostly good people, except for Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, and John Goodman.
Oh yeah, John Goodman. That's another one. So you got invested in enough characters who were good there that you would want to see them get out of that place alive.
Well, I think the right people managed to survive this.
Yes, overall, the right people did survive, though I still felt bad for the guy who was left on his own, and he was had letters to Billy.
Oh, dear Billy. Today I died. I was eaten by a giant freaking lizard monster.
With a skull for a face.
Yes. So
But can I say that I love the design of the skull crawlers, I believe the guy named them.
I mean, it was a serviceable design.
I know, but to me it was a very, I don't know, it was so simple, but yet
it felt right.
It felt right to me, just seeing it like that, especially seeing Kong fight multiples of the small ones and one giant one.
Yes. Actually, my preferred designed monster in the film was that giant stick bug.
It wouldn't surprise me if that creature was based on the actual creature that can, it's more of an insect in real life, really, that can actually camouflage itself as sticks and twigs.
That's why I said it's a giant stick bug. I feel I have to point out something about this film.
Yes, go ahead.
This might be the only King Kong film in which the tribal natives of the island are not hostile.
Oh no, then that's actually true. Actually, they're not hostile.
They are
going to be doing a sacrificial
No, they are a
rituals or anything.
surprisingly welcoming and open community that accepts all walks of life after they made sure you're not a threat, that is.
Yeah.
Which is reasonable.
Yes, it is reasonable. I will say this, I love the makeup job they did on those tribal people.
So,
yeah, never mind that.
Overall, Kong Skull Island is a great watch. Definitely a popcorn-worthy experience.
Yeah, it's very enjoyable. So, take your wife there. About to say take the kids too, but...
the kids, they will love it. They will absolutely love it. They will want to watch it 9 times.
They will want to see the fatality in the film.
They will want to see King Kong fighting giant lizard monsters, that's for sure. They cannot wait to see Godzilla fighting King Kong as well.
Yeah, which will...
Hint, hint.
Yes, which is an inevitability at this rate.
Also, all the other monsters of the Godzilla franchise.
Mothra, Ghidorah.
Yes.
Oh, that was amazing, that after credit scene.
You know, I think Warner Bros. Has pretty much given up and they are imitating Marvel full on at this point.
Yeah. I couldn't believe that there was an after credit scene despite the fact that I just stuck around to make sure there wasn't one. Well,
anyway.
Yeah, anyway. But yeah, like I said, it's a very enjoyable film, and
it is a spectacle.
It's definitely one of my highest recommendations for this year.
So, it took me a while, but I finally managed to get around to play the Freedom Planet 2 demo.
Dang, I should have played that ages ago, but I kept forgetting about it.
Okay, so there is a selection of 4 characters in this game to try on.
Ooh.
Of course.
Oh wait, we're trying them on as in we get to wear them as skins?
Sure, Devar. Sure, that's exactly what I meant to say.
I'll take the Mila skin then, because she's adorable.
That's a bit disturbing. What is this, House of 1,000 Corpses?
I don't know, just...
Anyway, I meant to say Mr. Nazi Grammar, or Grammar Nazi. Damn it. I botched saying Grammar Nazi. The demo of FP2 gives you a selection of 4 characters to play as.
Yes.
Of course, there are the 3 main characters from the first game, which are Lilac, Carol, and Mila. And then there is the additional Panda Girl, which was a boss in the first game, I believe.
Yeah,
yes,
she was.
She was the one with the ice powers.
Yeah, she was the one with the ice powers, as well as worked for the... Oh, what was his name again? What was his title again?
I cannot be bothered to remember because, let's face it, the plot of Freedom Planet was not its strongest suit.
No, it definitely was not.
But it was fun, and that's what counts, and that's what people would want to come back to.
Yes, I would be the same. But yeah, I hopefully Freedom Planet 2 will improve on that aspect.
Okay, this seems promising because they changed a few aspects that did not work with the playable characters in the previous game, but other aspects, mostly the right ones, stayed the same. More specifically, playing as Lilac is the same as playing Lilac in the first game, from what I've seen. Which is fine by me, because she was probably...
the well-rounded character.
She was the best one to play as. She was perfect to play as, if you ask me. She could attack from every direction on a 360-degree angle. She had a double jump that killed, and that special move that allowed her to reach higher places, as well as hitting more enemies. Lilac is controlled in the same way she was in game number 1. That's what I gathered from the demo. They have not changed anything at all.
Yeah.
Now, Mila is the greatest improvement.
I would hope so. Because...
Yes, she was really hard to play as in game number 1. She never even got her own story mode.
Yeah, well, technically she did, but it was very, very thin. Not well...
thought out.
Well, it's just that all they just did was at the beginning, everything else was the same until the last fight against Brevin, where they cut out the last form of the Brevin boss fight and didn't bother answering a few questions involving what happened to Mila at that point in the game. So, I had to wait that long for Mila's Freedom Planet 1 story to be done just to get minimal effort that didn't even try.
I would assume that at that point they were already developing the sequel.
Yeah, that was the only downside. They announced the sequel by the time this update came along, but it took so long.
So, as you might recall,
yes,
Mila was close to being unplayable in the first game. I mean, you would have to really master her in order to get past one or two bosses.
Yes,
she was also at the least amount of HP.
Yes, and she also was the type of character you have to be slow and methodical with, in a sense.
In a game that wants you to be fast, that's...
Yeah, that seems a bit, counterintuitive.
Well, she is fast in this game, and she's been ironed out, so to speak. So now she can use her powers, her mysterious green gelatinous powers, in very creative ways. For example, she can just summon a green cube to use either as a one-shot powerful attack or as a machine gun to hit enemies from a distance.
That's actually good. That's actually a good improvement already from hearing about that.
She has physical attacks, and she's apparently a studied martial artist, judging by her idle animation, like a kung fu master of sorts. And yes, she's definitely a massive improvement, and probably the second best character to play as after Lilac.
That's good then, especially since she was my favorite in the first one based on design.
Which brings me to Carol.
Oh, Carol.
She has not changed a bit since game number 1, which breaks my heart, because if you recall, I had many reservations about her gameplay style. She still cannot hit things above her head, which handicaps greatly.
Granted, in the first one, she had a motorcycle that could climb walls.
She still has that. Like I said, she has not changed, but there is still that one particular gameplay aspect that still bothers me and makes her playing a bit more unfair.
Yeah.
Compared to Lilac, for example.
Yeah.
Because all the other characters, including the Panda Girl, have the ability to hit things that are above them, as well as any other direction. Carol is the only one who doesn't.
Which is
weird.
I know.
I understand differentiating with your characters and what they can do, but at this point it feels like it's an unnecessary handicap to add to this one character, and that could be detrimental to the overall enjoyment. I do like her new special move, which might actually, if used correctly, if mastered correctly, make up for her shortcomings, because it's a bit similar to what Lilac can do, but instead of just turning into a rotating missile, like Lilac does, she launches her motorcycle, I believe, in midair, and she grabs to it, and she propels from that motorcycle into the direction it has been thrown at. So it basically accomplishes the same thing that Lilac's move does, but it has a bit more flavor to it, or a different flavor to it. It's not that unique, honestly, but it is serviceable, I suppose.
I was going to say it's similar to Lilac's, but it sounds quite neat, her just throwing a motorcycle.
Well, I think it's the motorcycle. Honestly, it is so fast, I am not even sure what she's throwing. I'm assuming it's the motorcycle. Interestingly enough, I had these characters fight the same boss at the end of the level.
Yeah.
And I discovered that it is almost ridiculously easy to defeat that boss if you play as Mila.
Yeah.
But if you play as Panda Girl, it is a bit more challenging. I even died once.
Oh. Okay.
I did not die with anyone else. So it has to be the character's own limitations that are bogging her down with this particular boss battle. I'm going to assume that, much like the original game, there are going to be boss fights that are more suited and easy for specific characters as opposed to others.
Yeah, I would assume that as well.
But anyway, it is still unpolished. There is still some work to be done. This is just a preemptive demo. We'll see how the final product pans out.
Yes, it's nice to see that they've, released something to show off at least, so that it gets people talking as well as, still stay invested and interested in the product.
The product is indeed interesting. It's like a new generation of Sonic the Hedgehog games without actually Sonic the Hedgehog, which makes them better. And speaking of that, there has been a dramatic shift in character design compared to the first game.
Yeah, I noticed that instantly when the first trailer came out.
There are pros and cons about this. The obvious pro is that the characters no longer look like recolored sprites of Sonic characters made on DeviantArt.
Yeah.
Which is great. They are essentially taking their distance as much as they can from the Sonic inspiration in order to achieve their own visual style.
An identity, I would say, as
well.
An
identity.
I would like to also stress that was the main point that the creator of the series said he really wanted to do. He wanted to try and make it less Sonic-y looking and more their
Freedom
own vision.
Planet.
Yeah, more their own vision.
Yes, and I could not agree with them more, because who wants to be on the sinking ship of Sonic, really?
I'm all for it just because, that means they improve on their own product as well as get their own visual style that sets them apart. I mean, they already had set themselves apart with some great boss battles, in the original. To see them build upon this to further improve that and solidify their own identity away from the inspiration is very inspiring to see.
It is
in the making.
It is very inspiring, yes. Now, those are the pros, obviously, in shifting the character design. Here is the con.
Yes, what's the cons?
All these characters look like they would appear on Full Affinity. Let's face it, they might have amped a little bit the sex appeal, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I know what you're saying.
It's, I don't think I need to say anything anymore, but it definitely looks like they are trying to,
cater to those sort of people?
Yes, to cater to a very specific, sizable portion of the ideal audience.
Oh, Madhog, you do realize that audience is always everywhere.
I know, but they are making it a bit obvious.
You do realize that even if they didn't cater to them, they probably would have catered to them themselves.
I know. I'm just saying.
I know what you're saying.
I'm just saying.
I know what you're saying, but I decided to just do, kind of, from my own.
It's not a critique, but...
But you might as well say it, right?
I mean, somebody's out to say it. It's a nice-looking character design, but I think it's a bit distracting. While the much more simple and derivative aesthetics of the characters as they were in game number 1 were serviceable to the product. That's what I am going at, essentially.
Yeah,
now,
I
take that as you will.
I'm not taking it off the table. I'm just leaving it there for you to pick back up.
Yes, well, either way, I know I'm going to enjoy this game when it comes out. So I'm definitely going to get it.
I would definitely get it myself. I need to play the demo first.
Yes.
For the life of me, I've been so busy with everything else that I've not had the chance to.
Yes, while at it, you should get Creepy Castle and play it, because Creepy Castle is great, needs all the love.
Yeah, Creepy Castle definitely deserves some love for its creativity.
Okay, so after all of that lightheartedness and talking about pleasant things...
Like schlogs and Just
Actually,
from Fur Affinity invading our things.
actually, it is pronounced schlock. Thank you very much.
I don't know if I can even pronounce schlock.
You just did it.
Oh, good!
You just did it. Hooray!
Yay!
Right,
Anyway,
so...
Yes.
So, as I've hinted at the beginning of the podcast, before I trollolololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololol
subverted your expectations.
I guess that's what I did. Haha!
Aha!
Okay, so I think it's about time we talk about JonTron, because I have to say, I've only discovered this very day, the day of this recording. Earlier this afternoon, I fumbled upon an article.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to read to you, because I believe it is important to have a context for this going in.
Please do.
This is actually something that's been written, and something that has been proven to be factual. This is an actual article from Gizmodo.com. John Jafari is a popular YouTube gamer and comedian better known as JonTron. He is the founder of Normal Boots, a network of channels including Did You Know Gaming and Peanut Butter Gamer, and was the original co-host of the Let's Play channel Game Grumps. Between those projects, Jafari wields influence over an estimated 12 million subscribers, not counting minor cameos and crossovers elsewhere within the YouTube community. More recently, Jafari has claimed that Mexican immigrants are setting up ethnic enclaves in the US to break parts of America off back into Mexico.
Yeah.
Jafari began his descent into madness on Sunday when he tweeted a defense of Iowa Representative Steve King's controversial claim that we, this is in quotation marks, we can't restore our civilization with somebody else's babies. End quotes. A remark that has since been condemned by just about everyone except for white nationalist and possible fish human David Duke. From there, Jafari's tweets led him to agree to defend his positions during a conversation with professional streamer Steve Bonnell, better known as Destiny, on Twitch. Jafari's comments on the stream ranged from baseless to deeply inflammatory. In addition to his ludicrous claim about Mexicans attempting to somehow recapture American land, he said that we don't need immigrants from incompatible places, and that white people were going through a demographic displacement due to immigration, which he likened to apartheid South Africa. Jafari also claimed that wealthy black Americans commit more crimes than poor whites, citation badly needed, in parentheses.
Yeah.
The court system doesn't display bias against people of color, it does. The Irish and Italians were always considered white in America, they weren't, and I should know about that. And the Black Lives Matter don't disavow violence, which it does. We've gotten rid of discrimination in our Western countries, said Jafari, only to later state that nobody wants to become a minority in their own country. I'm almost done.
Yes.
This is painful and cringy to read, let alone to listen to, I would imagine.
Yes.
The source of Jafari's anxiety seems to be the looming possibility that whites will become a minority in the United States, which he projects will happen by 2042. And despite Bonnell asking repeatedly why that matters, Jafari instead stumbled through far-right talking points, vilifying immigrants as lazy criminals and demanding the need for America to have a unifying culture, though he was unable to express why that would demand a white majority. White interests and tribalism were something he harped on repeatedly, but was unable to quantify or defend the importance of. Bonnell pointed out that Jafari is half Iranian and half Hungarian himself. Jafari appeared open to the idea of immigration, conceding that, and I quote, if they assimilated, they would enter the gene pool eventually. Okay, I'm done. Now,
oh gosh.
Now, my first instinct was to disregard this article entirely because, by the way it is written, it sounds like one of those clickbaity articles that are written for the specific purpose, again, of getting clicks, and they are just twisting the truth in some weird way, again, to get said clicks.
Yeah.
Only 3 weeks ago, we had a similar discussion about PewDiePie.
Yeah.
Being essentially witch-hunted as a Nazi, whereas the truth was that he was just a really misled comedian.
Yes, a terrible joke that just went out of hand.
Yes, also some of those were taken out of context as well. Bottom line, he was berated by the media for no real justifiable reason. So, I was in the mindset of not really believing this article, especially since the title of this bloody page is Popular YouTuber JonTron has some batshit crazy thoughts on immigration he'd like to share.
Oh.
If that doesn't sound like a dumb clickbait title, I don't know what does.
Yeah, that does sound clickbaity, but at the same time it's like...
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for me, and for everyone who ever liked this guy and enjoyed his content, there was the link to the Destiny stream right in this page.
Oh gosh.
And I watched it just today. And I am very displeased and disappointed to report that this article is completely true. He went on for almost 2 hours about all of that. About all of that. Without any base or any believable source or anything to back it up. He just spouted white suprematist nonsense for almost 2 hours. He was just like a gamer forum made into person as he talked. It was embarrassing, depressing, and disappointing, and it's just...
Because...
It's just so sad. And unlike PewDiePie, there is no ambiguity and no mistake made in the pursuit of comedy. This was no comedy, this was a debate. And he said what he really thought. And what he really thought does not a good person make.
No, it's... because as soon as you brought all this up, today to me, I was like thinking, what the frick, because this sounds like something that came out of another reality that just doesn't seem to make sense, because...
It sounds like that. It sounds like the kind of idiotic stuff that some idiot trolls would make up, you know?
Yeah, because from the way I always saw JonTron with how he, before this happened, he always seemed like a nice guy that just... was just having fun and, didn't let politics like this kind of stuff be an actual thing in his thoughts. But yet, I would like to also bring up a tweet he mentioned some time ago, where basically he believes that, logically minded people are forced to shut up in today's society and just take it, apparently.
He really means... white people.
Yeah. It's all baseless nonsense and a phobia that seriously needs to die sooner than later.
I like the idea of the death of the author. This concept in which you can separate a creator of content from the content he creates. And in some cases it works. For example, in the case of Orson Scott Card, which is now a famous homophobe. He wrote a book that inspired a generation. And the book can be separated from the person because the book, being a fiction, does not connect with the person directly, so it is easy to separate.
Yeah.
Think about George Lucas and Star Wars. Everybody loves Star Wars, but everybody hates Lucas.
Yeah.
So you separate them. And you can do that easily, but you cannot do that in the context of
a YouTuber who's on the screen constantly.
What is specifically the kind of content produced by JonTron. We were fans of the guy. We found his comedy funny, surreal, and clever. His videos had good production value, but the problem is that they all centered completely around JonTron himself. He was not like a silent director behind the camera. He was the center of the attention. You cannot separate JonTron from JonTron.
Yeah.
So now that we have this new light on the person behind the comedian, how could you enjoy anything made by a person so, I don't want to say fundamentally detestable and wrong-headed, but you know what I want to say.
Yes, I think we get what you want to say.
I mean,
it's just baseless opinion that just doesn't have any hardcore evidence behind it. You know,
it's just like any other extremist.
The problem I've been having lately with extremists of this nature like this is that they paint a world as they say it is, and people can either believe that without needing any evidence at all. They'll just accept the words just because it came from their trusted source, namely a person that they can throw baseless trust into.
Okay, something that really bothered me about what JonTron said in the stream is that he insisted in lumping all Europeans into the same kettle, ignoring that we all have different histories as far as countries go.
Yeah.
It was just generalizing all the time, and you know what? I think I'm done talking about that.
Yeah, you know what? I really don't want to talk about this anymore myself. The more I think about it, this is what happens when politics and all this kind of conversation comes into anything. I become more jaded by the entire experience, in case you notice.
Yes, it just breaks my heart that with the PewDiePie case, there was actual controversy. There was a witch hunt, a mediatic witch hunt, if you will. There were mistakes that have been made, and it was important to clarify what those mistakes were. With JonTron, which used to be a YouTube personality I actually was a fan of, there is no ambiguity, there is no controversy, there is no media inflation of what the truth is.
Yeah.
This is just an unambiguous, factual case of a guy just coming out as a racist pighead.
Yeah.
That's all that there is to it. It is as simple as it is depressing.
Yes, it's simple. The words came from his own mouth, for goodness sakes. I do not know how anyone in their right mind could defend such words to mean anything else.
White supremacists.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, well, you know what is the worst crime out of all of this?
What?
The Titanic song.
No.
He ruined it for us. It was the funniest song, and now we cannot enjoy it anymore because it has his face on it.
And his voice.
Damn it. And his voice, damn it. His auto-tune voice, but still, damn it.
Well, I hope we have something a bit more happier to talk about.
Next week? Oh, yes. Hopefully.
Because...
But I think that for this week we are out of topics.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Devar, do not despair. You know how the old saying goes.
What?
When day is dark, always remember, happy day. Always remember, happy day.
Happy day.
Happy day to you.
Happy day to all.
Rember.
Rember.
This has been Madhog the Master.
And I've been Devar. Well, I'm sorry if I've seemed different then.
See you next time, folks. Have a nice week.
See you next time. Have a nice week. And please, take care of yourselves.
Remember, happy day.
Happy day.
Always look on the bright side of life. Always look on the light side of life.